Some of you have read the work that I've been doing with Nonna, or Auntie Jude, who's a beautiful spirit that I work with, and I've been basically transcribing her words for a few years now. And she's been speaking recently about what she calls the hungry ghosts, which are basically, they're kind of like ghosts, but they're a bit more unconscious than that. And she also talks about, most of us are aware at the moment of what's being uncovered globally as far as, trafficking and ritual sacrifice and all of that kind of stuff. We don't need to go into it. But just considering the so-called monsters that are behind all of this, it's easy to be angry and to send hatred to them. But one thing that Auntie Jude was saying is that a lot of people are just hardwired that their cells can actually only feed on dark energy. Whereas, we generally are doing our best to be able to feed ourselves with light energy. If our fear bodies, and this is something I haven't quite tapped on actually, and I'm going to step to that first. I think of fear as a body. I think of anger as a body. I think of love as a body. All of these different things, I feel like we have all of these different bodies. Which one do we want to feed, or which ones do we want to feed? Which wolf do you want to feed? So she says that, a lot of these people, they've just been so programmed from childhood or often from birth or before that they can only feed on fear. And so now with the earth shifting and the frequency shifting, that all humans are shifting and their bodies are now needing to actually start feeding on love. But if you have a system that can only feed on fear, those cells are going to starve for a while. It's almost like when you're trying to train your body out of living on carbs to living on fat, it takes the body about 3 weeks to be able to understand how to get the energy out of fats if it's been trained to get energy from carbs, because carbs is the first place it goes because it's easier. So similarly, for a lot of people, if their systems are just hardwired to feed on darkness, on hatred, on fear, doesn't matter how much love you send them, they're still going to feel like they're starving. And for a while, they will. So if you consider, if someone's hardwired to feed on fear and anger, what are they going to put into the world when they feel hungry? They're just going to keep attacking and trying to create more fear and trying to create more anger. So I'm finding it, it can be challenging, but I'm finding it really, really important to separate the person from the behavior. And that, as all of these atrocities and stuff are being uncovered, to not hate the people. Because if we do that, we just keep feeding the monster side of them. Whereas if we can send them light, although it will start to starve them for a while, if we keep on doing that, eventually their cells will start to reprogram in order to be able to almost like have receptors for love. Not all of them will. I mean, as from where I stand, some people are just too far gone and they have just done too much and they might just starve. That's partly their soul covenant as well. But we're seeing so much stuff in the media around the thing that shall not be named, because otherwise YouTube won't let this play, but we all know what's been going on for the last few months. There is just so much fear and so much anger being perpetuated, and it's just not helpful. So you can go, yeah, I don't agree with that, but where am I going to send my energy? What am I going to feed? What do I want to generate? And so, Auntie Jude was saying, I was going for a walk down at the local river and I looked up and saw one of the new towers being put in. And my first reaction was like constriction. And then I went, no, hang on, relax, send it love. Imagine it's a giant tree, just to try and transmute that energy a bit. So I just thought that was a little bit of an interesting thing that she shared with me.